Chapter 16, Underwater Wars. We came here prepared for war. Now it's heading our way. Strap on your war gear and let's give them what they're looking for. Take no prisoners. Leave none alive, Commander Van Deer ordered his warriors. They strapped on their war gear, comprised of heavy fighting machinery, and climbed into war-prepared subs. After disengaging them from the body of the ship, others climbed into sub-robots. Missiles lined along the arms of each robot, prepared for launch out of the ports of each robotic finger. The tremors coming from the approaching cave-dwelling army suddenly stopped. They drew into battle formation as they watched the commander's army line up for battle. After his life-threatening incident, Arad immediately called Faltor, who quickly summoned the rest of the crew as well as the group of 5. They all met at the transportation center. There, Arad described to them the deadly events that had unfolded. Bullet holes in the surrounding floors, walls, and panels legitimized his story. The group of 5 honored and thanked the young Arad for his bravery. Because of his quick response to the threat, they were all unharmed. We are also grateful to have you as a member of our community, Faltor reassured Arad while putting his arm on his shoulder in a gesture of support. Waldor, Sunny, Phasar, and Troy also thanked and consoled their dear friend with endless hugs and endearing smiles. Faltor moved both his hands to Arad's shoulders and reminded all those present, "There are people out there that want to overthrow us. Let us go to the control room and see what we can find out about them before they begin a second strike on us. Troy, get a group of engineers and mechanics to repair all the broken instruments here, and afterwards, meet us in the control center," ordered Faltor. Troy quickly followed his orders while Phasar, Sunny, and Qualdor attempted to figure out exactly where the intruders originated. Phasar soon spotted the International Water Station and drew everyone's attention to this unknown vessel not far from the Aqua Phi. "Look, the vessel says United Nations on the side panel," he exclaimed. Jereb interjected. 6 years ago, when we ventured to the other side of the vortex, we entered a building where all the representatives of the world meet. If you will remember, that representative body is called the United Nations." "You're right," agreed Balkan. "This has to be the same United Nations," reasoned Trioa. "But how could it be? How did they get to our side?" asked Sunny. Admiral McDougal and company slipped into one of the mini-subs and launched out of the water station. Jean-Pierre cleared a path far away from the 2 armies now positioned to inevitably collide. He especially steered far behind Commander Van Deer's militia. Mary directed him to head towards the Aqua Phi. Immediately, they sped straight towards the Aqua Phi's front view screen. "Small craft heading our way," shouted Phasar. "Lower shields," ordered Faltor. Qualdor lowered the shields, just as the small sub approached the front window. Dr. Downey noticed people inside. Professor Jackson began waving her arms at them. Lars and Helena followed, moving their arms as well. "They tried to invade us. Now they're waving for us to let them in," asked Qualdor. "Do they think we're ignorant or just easy prey?" continued Troy. The cave dwellers' attack ship fired 2 missiles with the purpose of testing their opponent's armor. To the left of Commander Van Deer's war machine was one soldier operating a giant sub-robot. He quickly swiped both missiles, sending them spinning out of control. That exchange led to shrill war cries from both sides of the fighting line. Before long, more missiles began to tear through the water as both armies fiercely attempted to destroy each other. The centers of each spinning missile hit the shields of the Aqua Phi directly between it and Mary's sub. The missiles dropped on the sand without exploding. "Oh no!" cried Vanita as she wrapped her arms around the doctor's waist, closed her eyes, and laid her head on his chest. "I wish they would open before another one does hit us," exclaimed Lars. The ground trembled violently under the active fighting machines. Before Faldo could announce it, Troy brought attention to the thundering scene outside. Shag, far left of us, there is a war raging on with giant robots and submarines striking at each other, Troy declared. I recognize the largest vehicle there, said Qualdor. He continued, it is from the cave dwellers. When we were on the search for a home years ago, Troy and I saw that vehicle and those militarized robots inside of the caves. 2 more missiles fired from the cave dwellers' machine, this time moving slightly faster. One of the missiles connected with the center of an advancing sub-robot, launching it backwards before exploding. The soldier controlling the robot made the mistake of looking back at his fellow soldier. In doing so, the second missile struck him and exploded. The tremendous vibrations unearthed giant clams from beneath the sand. A clam struck the back of the legs of one of the cave dwellers' controlled robots. As the robot fell, the clam opened up and swallowed it. While the sub-robotic war machines and miniature submarines shot at each other, enormous squidoctopuses joined the scene. They wrapped their menacing arms around some of the subs in an attempt to get at the people inside. Mary lightly tapped her vehicle against the Aqua Phi's shields to remind them that they were still there waiting for assistance. This group must have escaped that war, concluded Trioa. It should be safe to let them in, said Balcon. The wisdom from the older members of the group proved the value once again. Sunny directed the strangers towards the transportation center. She turned to look at her father-in-law, who motioned her to let the Admiral and her crew on board the Aqua Phi. A giant robot stuck both hands into the belly of a squidoctopus that wrapped itself around Van Deer's sub and loaded several rounds of ammo into the creature. The squidoctopus slouched and slithered off the vessel. Sunny raised the fugitive's miniature submarine into the Aqua Phi. The crew stepped out with their hands on their knees, trying to catch their breath. Mary, Helena, and Vanita were so happy to see Sunny that they raced over and hugged her. Sunny tried to hide her smile because as yet, she was not completely sure they could be trusted. Follow me, invited Sunny. She marched them through the corridor towards the control center. The pioneers gratefully followed Sunny into the control room, and the older members of the Aqua Phi invited them in as they approached. Just as Admiral McDougal was about to explain their position, another missile hit the Aqua Phi's shield and exploded, followed by a subsequent explosion. Troy, intensify shields, commanded Faltor. Intensifying, sir, responded Troy. Faltor, we're leaving you at the helm. This may become more dangerous as the situation rages around us. See what you can do here while we consult on our next move, observed Malka. Gerald, Trioa, Balcon, and Malka left the control center under Faltor's command. The control center crew momentarily abandoned their guests to watch the ongoing war outside. Suddenly, barrages of missiles soared from the center of the cave dwellers' war machine. While many of them were swiped away, others did connect with their targets. Unfortunately, some of the deflected missiles made a path directly for the Aqua Phi. There are many explosives heading straight towards us. We can take the hits, but at what cost? Our current location has become dangerous, Faltor warned the group of 5. All right, send the broadcast out to everybody. We are lifting off to a safer location, Sunny's father decided in response to Faltor's concerns. 6 years of no war. Now it had to find us, Malka said, filled with disappointment. Yes, once again, confirmed Trioa. Troy broadcasted the message throughout the Aqua Phi. Phasar intensified the shields while Qualdar started all the engines. But just when the Aqua Phi was about to lift off, 6 missiles struck and exploded above it. The Aqua Phi held its position until the detonation stopped. Once it was safe, the Aqua Phi lifted up and drew into the waters, disappearing from the battlefield. The warriors raged on for their prize, unaware that what they were fighting for was no longer there. As Aqua Phi spirited through the seas, Mary thought it was time to explain their mission. Thank you for taking us on board your vessels. My name is Mary McDougall. I am the Admiral of the United Nations International Sea Shuttle. We were sent here to make contact with you, and more importantly, learn of your peaceful ways, she explained. We're supposed to make a friendly contact, not what you see going on out there, clarified Professor Jackson. She continued, when you first arrived in our world 6 years ago, we were mesmerized by you and your vessel, the Aqua Phi. Our world leaders determined that the secret to knowing who we are and where we are from lies with you. We wanted to unlock our own mysteries through contact with you. Mary added, we used to think if we could unlock the mysteries of outer space, our questions would be answered. Since your arrival on our shores, we have all but abandoned space exploration. Resources for such research have been drastically cut. Many space shuttles have even been retired. Our leaders have called upon the most brilliant minds to explore the oceans to find you. We received years of training in order to navigate our latest, most advanced sea shuttle. The goal was to find and communicate with you. If you're not willing to return with us, perhaps you would be willing to at least share information with us, added Dr. Downey. That war that you were observing was made up of one group of warriors from your very waters, assured Lars Amsgaard. The cave dwellers. I recognize their vessel and weaponry from before, interjected Qualdor. The other group of fighters is from our time. We didn't know that they were on our vessel. They came with their own set of mandates, totally opposite from ours, confirmed Helena Amsgaard. Your world is divided. There are leaders in your time who want peace. They devote a lot of time and resources to peace, seen in you and your training, as well as your craft.